The ACC has officially announced a 9-game schedule starting in 2026, Jordan. This is something that we all knew was coming. As soon as the SEC went to a 9-game schedule, we knew the ACC would probably follow suit, not too far behind. They've adopted a similar model to the SEC in the fact that they're going to a 9-game conference schedule and that they require all of their member institutions to play a minimum of 10 Power 4 conference opponents a year. So, Jordan, the real question for this is this a good thing for the ACC? And unfortunately, I think this negatively affects the out-of-conference schedule. Obviously, having to play South Carolina every single year, which I definitely want to continue. That would be 10 Power 4 opponents every single year. So, with that said, Clemson's got a couple scheduling agreements with various teams such as Georgia, Notre Dame, etc. Right? What does it mean for those scheduling agreements? And before we ever truly get started in this Notre Dame scheduling agreement, has it already blown up in our faces?
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting thing to consider. I hope things don't change, but it's one of those things where if you're Clemson and you're the athletic department and you're the athletic director, I don't know what kind of what kind of the solution is, because if you are playing 11 Power 4 games a year, when you include the scheduling agreements you have with other P4 opponents that aren't South Carolina, I mean that's really going to ramp up the intensity of the schedule, and theoretically, you'll still have that room for that that yearly FCS opponent against an in-state school, but you have to wonder whether or not they'll use it. It definitely creates less scheduling flexibility in the schedule, for non-conference games, and especially where they're placed on the schedule. So, it's something that was probably coming down the pipe, especially when the SEC went ahead and pulled the trigger and made the move. You knew the ACC was going to follow suit because that's what they do. So, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not really sure what Clemson is going to do with regards to their future non-conference opponents. I mean, of course, they have to go to LSU next year. They have the scheduling agreements with Notre Dame. They have a series with Georgia in the late 2020s. I think they have one with Oklahoma too. So there's a lot of things to be answered, questions to be answered in terms of what the future of Clemson's non-conference schedule is, and what it means for kind of the scheduling dynamics that Clemson likes to hold on to, and because they always like to have games fall on certain times of the year, and we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of ask yourself, and I know it's crazy because it's just 1 year away. Does that LSU game even happen?
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, I tend to think they wouldn't.
But I think there's a possibility it doesn't happen. And I think both schools may choose to get out of it. For the simple fact that the SEC is going to a 9-game schedule as well. The ACC is going to a 9-game schedule. So at that point, with just the South Carolina game alone, you are already at 10 Power 5 opponents. What benefit do you have to going past 10 Power 5 opponent, which is what Clemson's traditionally has done. Even with the 8-game conference schedule, they play 10 Power 4 opponents a year. Maybe the ACC helps Clemson out and Notre Dame with that scheduling agreement and just makes that a permanent ACC matchup between Clemson and Notre Dame every single year. knowing that Notre Dame has to play, I think, 5 ACC games per season. Maybe Clemson's just one of those reoccurring games every single year, and that continues that scheduling agreement. But I don't know if Clemson's going to go out there and continue to play an LSU or play a Georgia or play a Texas A&M or play an Auburn or play whoever, right? Once you go to non-conference games plus South Carolina, which is 10 Power 4 opponents. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I think it'll be interesting, but I think there is a possibility that LSU game might not happen next year, which I will not be happy about. I definitely want that game to happen as a fan. But I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to follow. It's going to be interesting to watch. It's certainly all these conferences going to non-conference games is certainly diminishing the amount of non-com crossover that can happen in a season, especially when you talk about teams like Clemson that have a rival that you want to play each and every year that's not in your conference. Because basically that's your non-con game. That's your Power 4 non-con game every year. So you have no ability to kind of, we're going to play Georgia for 2 years, and we're going to play Notre Dame for 2 years, and then we're going to play Texas A&M for 2 years, and then we're going to play LSU for 2 years, and then we're going to play Auburn for 2 years. You don't have that flexibility anymore. And the other conferences are going to be much the same. So I don't know. Like Georgia, for instance, will be the same. They're going to play Georgia Tech every single year. I think they're going to want to get out of that agreement with Clemson just as much as Clemson's going to want to get out of it with them, which sucks because I love that game. I love the crossover that Clemson likes to do with these big-time non-conference opponents. But it seems that with the addition of the ninth conference game, that's kind of going to go by the wayside for the most part.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, we'll see kind of what happens. That's I definitely don't want to lose those matchups. I don't either. Despite Clemson's results on the field this season, I don't want to let that sway me from wanting to see them play, big time programs in the non-conference. I just
right. Yeah. Yeah. This season aside, and this team aside, and the fact that this team will get shellacked by pretty much all those teams we just mentioned, that's not important to me. What's important is Clemson stepping up to big competition, non-conference every single year, and it seems like we're going to be limited in our ability to do that unless we just opt to add an 11th Power 4 game and only have one quote-unquote cupcake game a year. And I don't really see that happening. I don't think they're going to do it.